I am painfully aware of the small amount of people subscribed to my channel and even smaller amount of people who regularly watch my videos compared to the other YouTubers who have covered this drama, but even so, I feel the need to weigh in on this clusterfuck because there are still a few loose ends that need to be taken into consideration. I want to make it clear that I wasn't watching this unfold live like most people. My access to Twitter is limited for reasons, and I'm more of a YouTube viewer than a Twitch viewer. And while I was aware of Nux's video addressing the doxer and swatter, I had no idea that it generated the amount of backlash that it did. Now, before I get into the series of events, I think I should explain what doxing and swatting is in case there are some people who don't know. They are both malicious activities performed with ill intent. Doxing is when someone takes someone else's private information and publicizes it without permission. Swatting is when someone else calls the authorities and files a false report with intent to have a SWAT team storm someone else's residence. Both of these are horrible things to do, swatting in particular because, well, SWAT teams are prepared to deal with hostage situations and will shoot you dead if they see you as an immediate threat to someone else's life. Now let's get a rough timeline of events sorted out. Nux Taku receives a phishing email claiming that Vshojo has accepted his application. Nux, who has not applied to be a member of Vshojo, contacts one of their cybersecurity experts. The expert says that they have known about this serial swatter for a while and were conducting an investigation. Vshojo's management has been aware of this and have not made a PSA. So after the criminal had supposedly been dealt with, he made a video about it. Vshojo's official Twitter account thanked him for making the video, but many other viewers were upset that they had known about a serial criminal and not informed the general public or potential victims of this threat. Here's where things get a bit fucky. Vshojo's Twitter deletes the tweet thanking him, and around the same time, all of Vshojo's talents start going full cancel culture on Nux, saying that his video was irresponsible, risked their safety, and he was never given permission to upload it. Their fans, eager to simp, were quick to echo their criticism. Nux eventually makes a public apology, and Vshojo's management releases an official statement, which is really just a PR damage control move, full of inconsistencies and discrepancies, and claims that contradict screenshots of conversations between Nux and various other members of Vshojo's management and talents. Anyways, after they released the statement, people started calling for apologies from the individual talents for their toxic behavior that they engaged in, and Vshojo's management released an additional statement claiming that everyone apologized to each other in private, and that the situation was resolved, that there were no ill feelings towards each other, and everyone was happy. Some of Vshojo talents retweeted the link to this statement as a courtesy makeshift apology, while others posted their own individual public apologies, claiming that there was miscommunication between Vshojo's management, cybersecurity, the talents, and Nux. So everyone's happy and everyone can move forward, right? Wrong. I highly doubt anyone could just forgive and forget this if this happened to them. And as of the time I'm recording this, I have yet to see Nux agree with this statement. But it isn't just Nux who was a target here. Another indie VTuber who had actually applied to become a member of Vshojo had unfortunately fallen victim to this phishing scam and ended up being swatted. From what I gather, it appears that this happened during the time that Vshojo's management had known about this particular threat. I was watching her stream the other night when some misinformed individual began to spread some negativity in her chat, and it is clear that this is still really affecting her. I mean, people stormed her apartment and pointed guns at her, for God's sake. That's a traumatic experience, and as someone with PTSD, I'm pissed on her behalf that Vshojo's management knew about this possibility and made no attempt to prevent something like this from happening. Simps are claiming that a PSA would have compromised the investigation and endangered Vshojo's talents. I disagree with this because Vshojo themselves were being impersonated. They knew how to take steps to avoid this from happening to them, and a PSA like Nux's video would significantly reduce the threat to the general public, as a swatter's ability to commit these crimes depends on the willingness of others to share personal information with them. If anything, Vshojo's management were putting others at risk. It is standard procedure to inform the general public of a serial criminal to minimize the risk of more people falling victim to these crimes. I highly doubt the investigation was going to go anywhere because any competent investigator would have prioritized the safety of the general public over catching the bad guy. Vshojo's talents apologize for their behavior in one way or another, but Vshojo's management has endangered the general public and allowed at least one other VTuber to be swatted. What if the swatter had targeted someone besides Nux, someone who actually applied for Vshojo? What if that target had ended up being swatted? Vshojo would have known about this possibility and let it happen. Someone could have died because Vshojo's management kept quiet about this danger, and honestly, it sounds like this could result in charges like criminal negligence or some other legal action because it's their handling of the situation that was irresponsible. Vshojo's management still owes an apology, not just to the swatting victim, but to every indie VTuber out there who could have been swatted as a result of their inaction.